pasó, Venkers?
Hello, Venkers.
How is everybody doing?
How are you doing? It's the new year. You might be singing New Year, New Me. Well, guess what? You're going to learn today, people. You're going to learn today because today on the pod, we've got Martin Villari, otherwise known as Lower Lap Time. You might have seen his videos on YouTube.com. You might have seen his stuff. He's a driver, coach. He's a man who knows about racing lines, and he's a man who knows about regulations and rules, and he has strong opinions, and he's left those opinions in our comment section, and we will be discussing those on the pod today. But first off, Martin, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, guys. A big introduction. Jeez, I hope I live up to that. I hope I can help. And honestly,
we hope you do too. We hope you do too.
I don't remember the comment either. So this is going to be
we're going to pull it up. Don't worry about it. We got fucking receipts. Don't worry about it. We're going to take you to fucking task.
Yeah. Let's rip the Band-Aid off straight away.
Let's start with the comment. Okay, so there was a comment. So let's start with this. In Brazil, it's Brazil. There's the restart. Oscar Piastri goes up the inside. Kimi Antonelli's in front of him. He makes a move, but then he doesn't fully go for it. He moves over, or I can't exactly remember what happened, but basically he squeezes Kimi. Kimi moves over. He hits Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc's out of the race. Oscar Piastri gets a penalty. Many people are up in arms about this, Matt included, and Oscar Piastri Nation, who at this point was drinking the Delulu juice in my own opinion. But many drivers out there are saying this is bad, this is whatever. And Gunter Steiner on our podcast said, yes, Leclerc said it wasn't Oscar's fault. So if I trust Leclerc, and this is what you wrote in our comments. You said,
I think I actually know now.
You said,
it's coming back to you now. Now you're regretting.
Yeah. You said Leclerc, who went directly behind Antonelli, chose the outside as opposed to the inside. Palm face emoji. Who moved under braking against Russell in Hungary. Palm face emoji. And was soft in defense against Norris and Austin. Palm face emoji. This is Leclerc. Says it was somewhat Kimi's fault or Oscar's, not entirely to blame. When Leclerc demonstrates high IQ racecraft, then we can have a conversation. I wouldn't expect Gunter Steiner to know this, though. There's a free lesson for you. So you came in hot, piping
That's a big
hot.
comment. That's a big comment.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
so
a big comment.
apparently Charles Leclerc is an idiot about racecraft, and Gunter's an idiot about racecraft.
Okay, so we'll park. Yeah, let's park Gunter for 1 second. Yeah, Leclerc moving under braking in Hungary. I mean, did you guys hear George on the radio after that? He's like, what's this all about? Like, I've never thought. I mean, Charles, do you know his pole conversion ratio? Like, he's got something like 30 poles and 7 wins. Okay, we can attribute some of that to Ferrari, but Charles has also got a little bit of explaining to do there. He's a lap time machine, but the conversion piece, the starts, the attack, the defense, the racecraft, the restarts, the strategy, there's more that needs to be done. Whereas Ricciardo was like 3 poles and 9 wins, totally different, like racing driver, not like qualifying driver. So yeah, I mean, when Charles exhibits some decent racecraft, then I'll be like, all right. But I wouldn't choose the outside if I was offered the inside or the outside. I'm not sure why he did. It reminds me of, do you guys remember, you may or may not know, Spa 2000, one of the like classic famous overtakes. There was like a back marker in the middle, and then Schumacher and Hakkinen just like swarmed this back marker down into Lake Combs chicane in Belgium. And it was that same thing. Schumacher went left, took the outside, Hakkinen split, went up the inside, and it was like one of the best moves in history. It was like that. It was like Antonelli was the stuck, slow one in the middle. Charles went outside. That's him out of the picture, pretty much. Oscar went inside, but then there's another conversation on whether Oscar went hard enough in the braking zone. Yeah.
Right, because I remember you said that he didn't. I was when I watched your videos, I was like, is there Australian bias here? Is he a Piastri lover and a Norris hater? But then you said, Oscar, he had that inside. If he just doesn't back off there, he didn't go aggressive enough. This I was. Sometimes I look for you for confirmation bias, if what I'm already thinking. But you're not afraid to go against your own kind.
No, there's no bias. There's no need to be biased. I mean, Oscar's a fantastic overtaker. You know, he sends it from other postcodes. I mean, Leclerc, Baku 24, around the outside of Hamilton this year in Baku and in the wet. There's been many examples. I think he got someone very quickly in Abu Dhabi, didn't he? He got his teammate.
Lando.
Yeah. I mean, so like, and then when presented with like the golden opportunity to overtake two cars up the inside, you're already sufficiently alongside. All you got to do is match the guy's braking point next to you. He's like, that's too easy. I don't want it anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, so there was a contrast for me there. I'm like, that should have been a slam dunk overtake for Oscar. I'm sure if he had his time again, he would have just braked a bit later.
Well, do we want to start with Oscar? Like, because that was I think where you were the most helpful to us is like with the Oscar and Lando piece, because it was kind of like, okay, these guys are in the same car. There's not much between them. How do we differentiate these guys? How do we watch for, how do we predict who's going to win? How do we see who's up and who's down in these practices and qualifying? Like what went wrong in the like they have different mentalities. Like, how did you parse these guys throughout the season, and how could you sort of create a glide path into like who was going to win, who was going to lose, you know, their driving styles, their mentalities? Like, how are you parsing that throughout the season?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So like with Oscar, his favorite track is Spa, as is Max's. That kind of automatically tells you like these guys love when the downforce is significant. I say like significant because it's like an airplane, right? At 0 kilometers, the car's not generating any downforce. And at 5 and 10 kilometers, there's like a tiny bit. And at 90 kilometers, there's a little bit more. But up in the 280s, 290s, when downforce is like it ramps up very quickly and the car's behavior changes quite a lot. So when Oscar dropped into Belgium and Spa, he was rapid straight away and he smashed it. But then you put him on something a little bit slipperier and he's not a fan. But I found it hard to characterize the two drivers as well throughout the season. The only thing I'll say is Lando struggled with the feeling of the McLaren since he jumped in it, since Bahrain testing. When I was watching it last year, he was not at one with that car. Oscar was kind of like, it's all right, like no problems. Not like, you know, out of the box like lights quick, but no obvious troubles to report. So I think that's the whole story that evolved is Lando wasn't happy with it, couldn't become one with the car. And I think everyone says like, what happened to Oscar later in the season? And it's like, well, nothing happened to Oscar. It's how Lando worked it out and got more comfortable and started swinging properly. And then, you know, he could show off his lap time advantage, which I think he's always had over Oscar.
But I think you're kind of also leaving out like the Oscar collapses, right? The Baku's, like Oscar also like started making mistakes out of nowhere. Now, where did that, because I think the narrative of Oscar was that, you know, maybe the ceiling wasn't as high, but he nailed his starts. He got the overtakes done when he needed to get the overtakes done. And like the ceiling might not have been as high as with Lando, but the floor was definitely higher. And then all of a sudden the bottom fell out of the tub in a couple of these races. And I know you like to look at mentality.
He Marty Supremed and fell through the fucking, I don't know.
You fell through the
floorboard.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think happened there? And I want to, and I want to drill into the mentality. And I also want, well, let me hear you answer that because I have a follow up for that. I know, I'm throwing a lot at you.
Okay, so that's different. You're talking about, so what I was talking about before was the technical side, like Oscar's lap time, how comfortable he was with the car, Lando, how he resolved for it, got more comfortable, found lap time. Oscar in Baku was on the mental, like falls under the mental side. So I always talk about the 4 areas of driver preparation: physical, mental, technical, and tactical. That goes under the mental. Underneath the mental is concentration, attention span, capacity, awareness, emotions, frustration, pressure, Oscar, pressure, and more. So I've reeled off a couple of things there. But that was championship pressure. Yeah, to jump the start and put it in the wall, like that's someone that's under pressure.
Before we get too in the weeds with all this stuff, I am curious about like how you came to be. You know what you're talking about. You're a driver coach in open formula, correct?
Yeah, correct. So I specialize in open formula, which means I have to put away a lot of stuff. And I think that's also part of, if you want to be good at something, like you can be anything you want, but you can't be everything you want. So like I've chosen, like I'll specialize in open formula cars with significant downforce, because driving with downforce is a part of driving the car. People say, well, when you're driving with brake, steer, throttle. Yeah, but you're driving with gears, you're driving with braking tools, you're driving with diff tools, and you're driving with downforce. Like that's a massive part of it. So I've had to put down karts, rally, GT3, endurance, whatever else, other categories, so that I can just specialize in open formula and driving with significant downforce. There are coaches that coach across multiple disciplines, but I feel like you can only get to a certain level before there's another level beyond that, which is like singularity of focus. So yeah, specialize in open formula.
And I know that you speak highly of the sim. You know, I feel like the sim has now, I think because of Max's affinity for it, Max's appreciation for it, and Max's vocal, almost championing of it. I feel like, especially that podcast he did with Bortoletto, on PK Jr.'s podcast, where he was just like, fuck carts, fuck cart, put them in the sim now. The sim is more useful. Can you kind of speak to like, what you've learned on the sim, where you're, how, like when you're going through these races and you're doing all that kind of stuff, are you like going onto the sim and running these corners and running these lines, and how accurate is that? You seem pretty confident that it's like pretty there.
So it's a tool like anything. Like if you try to cut down a tree with a hammer, you're not going to get very far. Like it's just a tool that you just need to know how to use it and try to like interpret and get the most from it. If you look at it like this is a game, this thing is not even moving. There's no G-force. There's no feel of the road surface. And this is not relevant to me. You've kind of lost the point, really. I think that's Lewis's approach with it. It's like, this is not reality. Like this has got nothing if I learn this, it's got nothing to do with real life. And there's some truth to that. However, I think what it teaches you best is you've got a given set of grip and a given car handling, and you've got to work it out. Like whether or not it's accurate or not doesn't necessarily matter to me, because of the process of finding the lap time in going in there, trying the different lines, trying the different braking points, understanding the model, refining car setup, driving in dirty air, driving in the wet, whatever it is that you're working on. That process is a process that you're going to have to do come Melbourne 2026 first race. You don't know what you're going to get. You might get understeer at turn 4 and oversteer at turn 6, and the car might have problems delivering power or whatever it is. You've got to just be able to, like, here is my toolbox. Like, here are the things that I can play with to get me out of trouble. You're essentially iterating and like learning and resolving for lap time problems, not necessarily learning how to drive that particular car the best way possible, because that's going to help you in 2026. Like it's not, but you're
practicing the process more than like Correct. You're saying this is exactly the conditions that I'm going to have come Thursday on the race weekend. No, that I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. That's it. So it's, this is where Max is obsessed with the pursuit of lap time rather than winning. It just so happens that winning is a byproduct and lap time is a byproduct of that. But like if you watch his Baku pole, the Baku pole was phenomenal this year. Like the amount of switch changes he made on the steering wheel and the way he controlled that car. And I think practice was interrupted, and like he's just, you can see that he's just got to a solution much quicker than the other drivers, given enough time. Yeah.
And he'll take penalties. He doesn't give a shit. He's like, yeah, throw me I just want the fastest car. Don't like that speaks to what you're saying, that he's not always results oriented. Like in Brazil, he's like, fucking throw the whole thing out. Let's just keep tuning this thing so we get the ideal setup. And he's not thinking about necessarily the result all the time.
Yeah,
so I think
that's a good example.
I agree.
Well, let's drill into Max a little bit. I mean, what is your kind of opinion, I guess, on? We were kind of debating towards the end of the year, like you look at those last 10 races, and Max is all of a sudden just like winning, podium, winning, winds up with more wins than either of the McLaren boys. Obviously finishes in second behind by 2 points. But I guess the question, do you like, was that Red Bull all of us? Like, how much of that? Obviously, a lot of that it's Max. But in the earlier part of the season where he was finishing 5th and 6th and wasn't getting poles and the car was like not agreeing with him, do you think that Max had the best car in that last third of the season? Or was that just still, a bit of a lemon that they learned, to make lemonade out of?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I think Max made it the best for him such that he could use it in the way that he wants to. So it goes back to the whole optimizing for your car and optimizing for your situation. Now, given the McLaren, like what Max was racing with in the Red Bull, where it was and where the McLaren was, like the McLaren only like maybe fractionally better. They were probably close, but Max has done so much work to get it to that position and optimize for it and squeeze everything out of it. And his qualifying laps are like literally perfect that he can then, now we can start to look at them parallel. But if you put him in the McLaren and he goes through that same process of iteration, where is it weak, where is it strong, how can I improve it, where are the opportunities, and he takes that McLaren through that same journey, you end up with a big discrepancy again.
The car is not like a static thing. It's it's a thing that he can evolve. He could level it up like a Pokemon, even better. He's like a Pokemon trainer, like the best Pokemon trainer, and the car is like a Pokemon, and it's not just like who's got the better Pokemon. It's like, well, you got to look at the trainer, who's giving them or like a horse, right? Who's feeding them the right stuff, who's taking the horse through the right drills and all that sort of stuff. And the car is not a static thing.
Yeah, you tailor it to how you want it to be. Like the whole thing can be tailored and custom to like your specific style. Like if I hand you a tennis racket right now, and I'm famous for tennis analogies, so I'll probably pull a few out in this pod.
Okay.
If I give you a racket right now and it's got like tight strings and you hit with it, is it the strings or the racket? What if you cut those strings out and you put different strings in? All of a sudden it feels amazing now. Like it's the same racket, but it's just like it feels more comfortable for you. And so, you're tailoring your equipment. Yeah.
How come every time a person uses Max Verstappen's racket, they all of a sudden are hitting the ball out of the fucking, it's not even on the court, it's over the fence. They have to open up a new can of balls. No one can hit Max Verstappen's racket. Why? Why can't anyone hit this guy's racket?
Because it's tailored for Max Verstappen. You've got to tailor it to you.
But I guess there's so much discourse around this. So like Max's, the setup and we've obviously seen the curse of this second seat. Now, Checo is dancing on Yuki Tsunoda's grave, and he's like having a grand old time being like, you see what you missed with me? Everyone's shitting on me. Look at you now. But like, there must be there's other teams that are seemingly tailor cars to certain drivers, but then other people can kind of get in there and perform. What is it about Max that kind of makes this racket impossible to hit for other people?
Okay, so let's say the car lands where it is, and it's the same for both teammates, and we start the weekend in Melbourne. Max, again, going back to the sim, the iteration process, he'll go down a completely different path of whatever he wants. I want more braking grip, add a little bit more front wing, I need more top speed, whatever, I got understeer the slow speed, I'll do this, bang, 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 change the brake balance, whatever. He'll go down this path. His teammate will go off on another path. Then there's a lap time discrepancy. Right. Max is 3 or 4 tenths quicker, and the teammate thinks like, shit, what do I do now? I'll try Max's setup. But that's the problem. It's built like Max has already gone so far down to something he's comfortable with. If you just then go out and try it and you don't like it, it's nowhere. Like you've got to go on your own journey, and you've got to also take the correct steps to take it where you want, and then you've got to compete and say, I've got a car I'm happy with, Max has got a car I'm happy with, let's dance, let's go for it, and then try to fight like that.
Right. It's like they're stealing his answers off the test, but they can't actually do the work. They can't show the work.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Show me how you reached,
that answer. Right.
That's the point. It's the process over the outcome. Yeah.
Right. I see.
And, this kind of gets into, there's a lot of talk about driving styles as well, and kind of like, schools of thought, how you take a corner. You talk about this a lot on your channel, kind of, taking
short corners.
I can't remember if you call them short corners or if you call them tight lines. You call them tight lines and tight line drivers, and how certain drivers, and whether you like a car with like a sharp front end or you like to take a long with more understeer. Can you kind of, I don't know, when you're looking at this grid and especially like kind of like the top guys, do you kind of have like a snapshot for each of their driving styles? Do they fit into boxes to you? Like if you look at like Leclerc, Max, Lando, what are the things that like come into your brain when you think of those three guys?
Yeah, beautiful. So I use the long corner of constant radius. It's just a particular type of corner. It sounds very technical, but it's basically just a horseshoe type of corner. And I use that to characterize the drivers because that's a corner where you can play with your rotation point. Exactly to your point, Brian. You can do different stuff. You can brake later and deeper and cut back or go in earlier like Lewis and brake earlier and soft. Like there's multiple kind of ways of taking such a corner. Whereas like if you get like a hairpin or a set of S's or a chicane or double apex or whatever, you haven't got as much scope and as much freedom to play. So I think when you look at that corner, that particular type of corner, through that lens, you can observe the differences in their driving techniques and driving styles. So can I share screen?
Break out the board. That's all I was waiting for.
Let's go. We told you we're going to learn today, people. We're going to learn.
All right, let's get
beautiful.
the board out.
So Hungary, you've got a lot of these corners, these long corners of constant radius. So if I just zoom in on the track map for a sec, you've got one at turn 2. That's a well-known one.
So is that like kind of like a double apex almost?
You can turn it into a double apex, but if you just look at it for what it is, it's a long corner of constant radius.
Okay.
5 as well. And then the famous last two long corners of constant radius as well. This is where Leclerc stole pole off Piastri.
So when everyone else is falling asleep, you're like, yes, give me Hungary. Because it's got all these
long corners of constant radius, bro.
Yeah.
LC.
I'm such a geek, man.
CR. Long corners of constant radius.
So now, guys, when Hungary, you don't have to dread Hungary anymore because you can be looking for these long corners of constant radius. Because I thought Hungary was a shit race. Apparently not.
Okay. All right. So how do they take them? Let's see.
All right. So you've got to. So there's 4 ways you can take this corner. There's a geometric line, which is just a consistent arc and consistent steering angle through that corner. Yeah. No one really does this because it's like you're not optimizing for an entry or exit speed. It's kind of useless. Okay. But it is a contextual thing. Like it is the baseline.
I feel like I could find a 5th way through there.
Okay. I'll be keen. Let's run through the 4 and you let me know the 5th. Right. I'll jump down to the short corner because this is like, again, context. This is where Rob Wilson came along and he kind of said, well, was too much time cornering with the geometric line. Like it doesn't optimize for the entry exit. So the short corner just basically, I like to look at it like Ving in a way. You're condensing that rotation period down to a point, and it's really mega effective in the wet. This is why I've got MV here because Max drives like this. Okay. You basically can I draw here? So like you're not putting the car through so much strain through this section, but you're condensing your rotation down to that, and so that kind of makes your V like that.
So are you just kind of tightening it? You're just kind of turning more violently almost?
So it's like an initial introduction, like do, and then you just give it that last bend right at the last second, like a big armful of lock at the low speed to get all the rotation done all in one go. And then the rest of it is like just peaches and cream. You end up hitting a late apex here, but you're opening the wheel and adding the throttle and you get a nice entry and a nice exit, basically.
Are you traveling a shorter distance? Is that why it's faster?
No. You're traveling a longer distance, but a shorter corner, like cornering, like
I see,
like hot zone where you're asking for the most of the rotation to happen like all at once. So the way you can explain it is like, think of 2 stoves. One is warm and one is raring hot. Yeah. If you leave your hand on the warm one for 10 seconds, you'll burn your hand. If you just touch the super hot one for a fraction of a second, nothing will happen. So it's that kind of concept.
I see. So you want it just like, you want it to be raring hot, but for not that long.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a short corner. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Max does this. What are the other? Who else is a short corner specialist? Who's doing it like this as well?
Most of them, to be honest. Like Liam does this a lot. Oscar and Lando as well do this. This is pretty like, again, you're optimizing for your entry and your exit.
Okay.
It's I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it anymore. I used to be more of a fan. Like I said, in the wet, this is powerful. If you watch Max turn 1 last year in Melbourne, first race, first corner, first lap, he gets all his rotation done super quick at turn 1 and then just swallows Oscar on the exit. The steering wheel nice and straight. So have a look at that. Do you guys remember that overtake around the outside of Oscar?
No. But in theory, yes. In theory, yes.
The McLarens were 1-2 on the grid. Max was third. It was raining for the race. By turn 2, Max was second. Right. He just wrapped up Oscar like Oscar was sleeping. Turn 2. So Max got all the rotation done very quickly at turn 2, and then just, again, with the steering wheel nice and straight, open, just went around Oscar where on the wet line. Like I said, I like this for the wet.
Why did I think Carlos and Lando did longer corners and they were a bit smoother?
They're probably more geometric potentially. So that can be considered a longer corner depending on your definition. Because again, like if we overlay the short corner on top of this, it's like, do you know what I mean? So it's more like that.
Sure.
Yeah, so the cornering region for the red is like more like that.
Okay, but so you have here early that Lewis does an early turn in?
Yeah, correct. So Lewis is like, and this Oscar does this too, and he's spoken about this in one of his pods. He's like, I want to get to the apex as quick as possible, as fast as possible, and brake as late as possible to get there. So that gets you quickest to this point here. But you kind of run out of options there. Like you kind of sit in this middle part for a while. Like again, you're not carrying speed. Like you can only find time or speed in or speed out. Like there's nothing else. So like once you get here super quick, that's speed in and you're there. But like you're still turning through that. So now you can't get on throttle. Whereas the short corner guy's already done the rotation over here and it's like, it's all butter after that. So Lewis is like, because he's super late braker. So that's why. He brakes late and hard and combines that with the steering and then jumps into the apex straight away. And like it just finds a lot of time. So
coming in fast and braking late, you kind of less room to maneuver, you less time to improvise. You're just you pick your braking point, you stick it, and then whatever happens.
Yeah, you're all in. Like you can't come back. You can't pull out of that. Whereas with what we drew before with the short corner, you can play with and manipulate the car. If you want to turn it a bit more, you can. If you pull another downshift, come out of the brakes, you can kind of assess the situation as the corner unfolds a bit better. So you end up with a lot more consistency. Whereas like if Lewis gets a bit of a snappy on the entry, like reinstability, like he got all year last year,
right?
Like you're in trouble. So it's got like higher returns, but you know what I mean?
No, do you think that now that he moved to Ferrari, and it's just like maybe different brakes, different car, that style is hurting him because he's not as used, because it used to be like he knew the car very well. He could just fucking pick his braking point and he could predict everything perfectly. And now he doesn't know what the car is going to do, and he picks his braking point, he sticks it, and it's like, oh shit, this is not. And he can't adapt. It's just harder to adapt with his driving style. His driving style is less adaptable.
Yeah, it is, absolutely, because it's uncompromising. It's all-in approach. I don't think necessarily the Ferrari per se. I think a symptom of the 25, 24 regs. You got big, heavy cars, big, heavy tires. They don't like this. They don't like being told what to do. There's so much. Do you know what I mean? Like the moment the car steps out, it's got so much weight in it that it's like it's very hard to recover a situation like that.
Right.
Whereas we'll get onto it probably, but in 26, you've got something a little bit smaller, a little bit more agile. It could probably tolerate a movement a little bit more. And Lewis might kind of deal with that situation a little bit better. But again, if the car steps out, it's just unrecoverable. like you saw in Abu Dhabi, for example. It's just
so wait, are you giving hope? Are you giving hope to Team LH right here?
Yes.
In that it was this regulation set combined with Lewis's. He's an old guy. He's maybe stuck in his ways. He's like, this is how I do it. Combined with the new, what I'm hearing from you is that like Max Verstappen is fluid. Max Verstappen, he's fluid, and he'll just kind of like wherever he's water,
work it out,
and he'll kind of wherever whatever is the path of least resistance. This is the path that I will take towards the quickest thing. Whereas Lewis is more steadfast, a bit more stubborn, more like I'm going to bang my head against the this is the way that I do it, and make the car make it so that it can work that way. Is that a little bit what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, yes, the regs next year. Go on, Maddie.
No, I think he's even said, like, I think he pushes back when they ask him if he has a driving style. He's like, I don't have a driving style. I just do whatever I think is going to be fastest. Like, I think I think he said that. Like, I don't think
Max said that.
Yeah, I think Max is like, I don't have a driving style.
Max is fluid, baby. Max is he's pan. He's bi, he's pan. He's everything. He's ready for he's just ready to party.
Yeah. So look, the 25 regs and everything, they didn't help Lewis as well, but I was more disappointed again, process over outcomes. I was more disappointed in the all right, like it is what it is. You can't change that. What are you going to suffer for 4 years? Like you've got to jump on the sim, like do some work. I don't know. I just feel like, yeah. There's a double thing there. Like it didn't suit him, and I don't think he was interested in it either. But I could be totally wrong there. Like I'm not
he wasn't
inside the team.
Changing.
I mean, I could be totally wrong. He would probably say, well, I did this, and this, and it didn't work. And that's possible. But at least also,
he'll write Ferrari a letter and they'll be like, in the garbage. It goes in the garbage.
Yeah, that's funny as well. Like, I think he did the right thing there, and he's probably on the right track. It's the whole Lewis is talking to himself in that situation. He's like, no, you got to do it this way. And Ferrari is saying, come on, man, we're Ferrari. I'm the 7-time world champion. He's getting his own medicine back there in a way.
Right. Okay, so what's number 3? We have the early turn in with Lewis. What's this tight line that seemingly Charles Leclerc does? Does he abandon this? Is this still the Leclerc way? Okay.
He took pole with this. So go, if you get a chance, check out the Ghost Lap for pole for this track 2025 and have a look at the last corner. Leclerc smashed it with a beautiful tight line here. This is like not many drivers know about this. I've been harping on about this for a while, that Max can, change and optimize a little bit in this area. The best drivers and coaches in the world now, they're starting to ask, do I need to use all of the track? Like at which point does it become I'm covering too much distance here and I'm asking the car for too much on the entry? So if I give you an example, let's say the track width is, I don't know what it is here, let's say it's 30 meters. But if I open that up to make it like 150 meters track width, like a runway, like an airport, are you still going to sweep in from the edge of the track? And do you know what I mean? You're just doing a lot of work. So now you're starting to think, like, do I need to use all of the track? Is there an advantage to not do that and come a fraction inside of that typical racing line and just have less fuss, like less dramas? And Charles seems to be one of the only ones that's doing that at the moment. So you don't turn in from like the furthest point. That's the biggest difference here. You're not turning in from here. You're like a step inside, a step tighter. It could be half a car width is enough, or even a car width, just depending. But you can also combine that, as I've drawn here, with the whole short corner thing, and it becomes super powerful technique. I love this technique, and I'm always looking for ways and opportunities where I can bring it in. And so is Charles. So it's really good. Very powerful technique, underrated, undervalued.
Is this the secret sauce to his pole ability? His ability
it was. In Hungary 25, it was absolutely like, watch the ghost car. But if we're talking about his poles around Baku, for example, not necessarily. There are none of these corners on the track.
Sure.
Okay.
What's up, Vankas? As you know, we have teamed up with BetMGM this season. We will be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we have a special offer for our listeners each week. If you have not signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code DADDY, and you'll get up to $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using the bonus code DADDY. You deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game or race, whatever it is. You receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. If your bet loses, just make sure you use the bonus code DADDY when you sign up. The new season is fast around the corner, and baby, we already got some betting lines on the new year. Right now, to win in Australia, baby. To win in Australia, Max Verstappen is at the top of the ranks, plus 300, followed by George Russell, plus 300, Lando Norris, plus 350, Oscar Piastri, plus 650. And if you think that Charles Leclerc is going to steal this one, plus 2,000 on Charles Leclerc. And if you think Lewis Hamilton's going to come in 2026 with a bang, plus 3,300 on Lewis Hamilton. And not only that, you also have the entire Drivers' Championship. Right now, Max Verstappen is at the top of that with a plus 250. George Russell right behind him, plus 325. Lando Norris, plus 350. Oscar Piastri, plus 700. And if you think these Ferrari boys can do it, it's plus 2,200 for Charles Leclerc to win the championship, plus 3,300 for Lewis Hamilton to do it. There's so much coming up in 2026. No one knows what's going to happen, but if you think that you've got a hunch, sign up with BetMGM. Put your money where your mouth is. BetMGM, make it legendary.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 for New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 for Massachusetts. 21 and over only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP for Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF for Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 for Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Vankas, this episode is brought to you by Liquid IV. I personally love and use Liquid IV. I was just in Colorado, where if you're at altitude, you get dehydrated quicker. First thing I do when I get off that plane, I pour a Liquid IV into my big ass water bottle. I drink it and I don't have headaches. Liquid IV is faster hydration than water alone, powered by LIV Hydroscience, okay? Science-backed formula contains an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients. Hydration Multiplier has 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks and 8 vitamins and nutrients in every stick. Non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. No artificial colors or sweeteners. Hydration-bursting flavors from strawberry, lemon, lime, passion fruit, and more. I personally love the tropical punch. It tastes delicious, and guess what? It keeps me feeling right. Listen, at these races, when we go to Austin, when we go to Miami, it's hot, you're sweating, you get dehydrated so fast. It's always good to bring a couple of sticks of Liquid IV in the bag, pour them in your water, make sure that you are feeling right and feeling on top of your game. We need them on these race weekends. I need them. Honestly, wherever I go, I always have a couple sticks in my backpack wherever I am. I genuinely use Liquid IV. It really makes a difference. I'm not just saying this. So rehydrate with better hydration from Liquid IV. Tear, pour, and live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order when you use the code REDFLAGS at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code REDFLAGS at liquidiv.com. Stay hydrated, Vankas. Okay, so now it's interesting because we started this podcast off with you absolutely running Charles Leclerc's name through the mud. But here we are, 30 minutes later, and you're like, the only guy doing it the right way is Charles Leclerc. I mean, actually, so Charles Leclerc, and it's okay. So, it's interesting his journey, right? He's the talent. He's the golden boy. He's Mr. Ferrari. And you kind of feel like he's stuck at Ferrari, and that's the thing holding him back. And, of his generation, he and Max were like kind of, they raced each other when they were kids. They were like kind of the two phenoms. And he's stuck there, not winning championships. And according to you, having poor racecraft. So when you look at Charles Leclerc, you say, okay, this guy can do a tight line, unlike any of these other fucking idiots who this is sitting there waiting for them to do it. But what's missing for him? It's just it's mentality, it's racecraft. You clearly have an affinity for him, but there's also maybe you're annoyed that he's not putting it all together.
Yeah, that's right. So it's the 4 areas of driver preparation. So physical, mental, technical. Charles has that in spades. Like his technique is excellent. Tactical is where it goes wrong. So I think I referred you guys back to the pole win conversion ratio. I don't know what it is. I don't know if your team has it. It's like 28 poles and 7 wins or something. So it's clearly on the it's on the tactical side. So
it's also on their tires sucking side, right?
It's on Ferrari's side as well. Like they're not great tactically as well. Like it's a team thing, but it's on that side. So that's the conversion. How do you convert pole into a win? Like that's another job in and of itself. So what we just spoke about with the lines is a lap time thing. And I love that from Charles. I think that's excellent. But like then you've got Carlos telling Ferrari, stop inventing, leave me to it. Like, I'll do my. He pretty much runs his own race. That's for me. That's better tactics than what Leclerc gets himself into trouble sometimes.
Okay, he has 27 career poles, and he only has 5 wins from pole.
That's not great. There's a problem there. So we can help with that.
Who do you think's got the best tactics? It's Carlos. It's probably
George.
It's probably Fernando.
Yeah, go for it. You guys smashing it. Yeah.
Carlos, George.
It's another big
Vettel
name.
was up there for a while, probably, right?
Another Fernando.
Big name.
A big name.
Max?
Yeah. Max is great tactically.
Max is good tactically. Although we're going to probably have to touch on Max. I know think that Max has like 1 or 2 where would you put Max's 1 or 2 weaknesses? But it's George. Although I would say that George is kind of a riverboat. I would say George is always thinking. He's a thinker. He's always thinking tactically. But I would say George takes a few too many gambles, don't you think?
Give me an example.
He's always taking the alternate strategy, and sometimes
Spa, right? Didn't he get disqualified at Spa, right? Because he stayed the one stop, and he
won that race.
Yeah, and then he got disqualified.
But then he got disqualified.
But that's car on the way. Like that's not his job.
Yeah, because he didn't have enough gas to execute the strategy. Wow, you are a real George apologist. I see.
Wait, let's talk about George. Let's discuss George. Yeah. Let's talk about his season. I went on a limb this year. I said I think George Russell is the second best driver in Formula One.
I agree.
That's my opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
We're on the same page, Brian. Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot to like about George. He's a dangerous driver. He's very good. He's very professional as well. I like George's approach. He doesn't drive at all with the tight line either. Again, it's pretty much only Charles out there. Sometimes you see it from Lewis. But yeah, I like George's approach. So back to your point, Matt, on the tactical side, you're looking at Alonso, Max, and George, and Carlos are probably my top 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So you think George? Let's talk mentality for a second. I would not necessarily. I think people are quick to forget. George threw away some races back in Singapore. I think he had a bad race in Canada, and I think he was very preoccupied with Lewis. Where's Lewis? Let me just worry about I think he got very. I think when he was on a team with Lewis, he rightly got very in his head about Lewis, and I think having Kimi Antonelli on his team has flattered his mentality a lot. But I don't think he is as mentally perfect as
We'll get to Lando.
Okay, but push back. Tell me that he's mentally he's perfect. He's top dog.
No, I like George's mentality. I think the 2 races you mentioned, he won them, Singapore and Canada.
No, the
Singapore race where he crashed out
in practice.
He crashed.
He won it.
No,
yeah, where he crashed.
Got it. That was a lack of concentration. Oh, look, he amended for it. I like George's mentality.
Well, Well,
so if we're just throwing out results, if we're just gonna like throw out, if we throw out Leclerc's crash in France in 2022, then he never crashes in races. You know.
Well, he's the only person who's been able to get under Max Verstappen's skin.
That's the point. Yeah, that's the point.
That's true.
That's exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
That's true.
I mean,
Max
Verstappen loses. Max Verstappen lost this championship because of his hatred of George Russell. That is period, end stop. That is what happened. George Russell played Max Verstappen like a fiddle. And he didn't realize it at the time, but like him ramming into him in Spain cost him the championship, period, end stop. That's just what it was. Because George Russell is, I mean, you can call it mentality. I mean, I think other people would call it like George being like a little bitch is what. But I'm with you on mentality.
Yeah, I like.
No,
George's
he's
mentality.
probably the only one. He's the only one that if you gave. That could actually go toe-to-toe with him mentally. I mean, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, they were not really going toe-to-toe with Max mentally. It was more like a horror movie. It was more like it felt more like Max was chasing them through the house with a knife and they were just running for their lives. That's how it felt. Whereas George is the only one that and Lewis a little bit, when in 2021 you didn't feel like Lewis was running from Max with a knife, but
wait, what was that?
Yeah. I'll push back on you there, Maddie. So if you'll allow me to.
What are you pushing back on?
All right. So Lewis. This is how George gets under the skin of Max. He shows him no respect on track, basically. Whereas a lot of the other drivers do. It's the Roger Federer effect. You're playing someone on the other side of the court that's just like, when Max puts the car up, you know what I mean? Like it's that presence that Max has.
You're saying Lewis showed him no respect? I think Silverstone, he finally put his foot down. And
that was good. Yeah, I agree. But that was after the sprint where he didn't. He learned from the sprint. If there was no sprint, he does. Yeah, the sprint, he took the outside there, and then he lost the sprint. And after the sprint, he was probably like, I'm not doing that again, stuff it. If I get a chance, I'm going for the inside. But you don't always get your sprints and there's a difference there. So they asked Lewis in 2018, I think it was, or maybe 19, Max Verstappen, he's just come in, he's super aggressive. He's like Ayrton Senna, like coming in with all this aggression, he'll wipe you out. Do you give Max Verstappen extra space? And Lewis was like, yeah, you have to. Like he's just so unpredictable and I'm just like, no, Lewis. You don't give Max extra space. Why? Like, he doesn't deserve extra space. Like, you've got to just, again, the George Russell approach. George shows Max, like, no additional respect compared to anyone else, whereas Lewis does. And that's the difference. Turn 5 Abu Dhabi, I know it's a can of worms, but there was a big gap up the inside that Max slotted into. You can't give Max extra space. George has earned Max's respect. So... yeah, the only mentality to have is like, I'm not giving Max extra space. Like, why should I? You don't deserve it. You're not entitled to it. However, if I'm working with Max and I'm on the other side, I'm saying, yeah, I mean, you owe us extra space. I'm a full-time world champion. I'm coming in like this. You got to pay the Max Verstappen tax. But if I'm working with George, I'm saying like, he's just another driver. Like, don't be intimidated by him.
And on that point, I remember there was a lot of races where Lando Norris was in third or fourth, back before they were good, where Lando Norris would wave people through. And he'd say, I'm taking my P4, I'm taking my podium, not my race, not my problem. And I was like, I was thinking at the time, I'm like, no, bitch, you have to fight everybody for everything. You need to establish a reputation as someone to be scared of. And then it took him a long time this season to like establish dominance on track. And it was I think for years he got kind of, he was always out of position. He was always in like a position where he was happy to be at. And then, almost like he qualified really well and there were faster people behind him and he just let him through. And it took him a long time to like assert sort of dominance on track, because I don't think he had it. And that was something I noticed mentally from him on track.
Yeah, I think he's began to walk in with his shoulders a little bit higher, like he belongs, like he's one of the best. Like act and look like a world champion before you become one, kind of thing. Like, yeah, I think he does walk into a room now with a little more confidence.
What do you think? Good. Yeah. What was the switch that you think flipped for him? Because he seemed like you think, because you ascribe it to the car, right? He wasn't gelling with the car, and then he started gelling with the car. But I mean, you can't, all the muffed starts, all the botched overtakes. That's not a car issue, right?
So I think ultimately the work that went in to make the car comfortable, like, again, the process piece, I think post Netherlands, something flipped in Lando's head that was like, okay, I need to, I got to knuckle down here. Like, it's now or never. This is a world championship year. Like, I've got to work this out. I think Oscar just took pole that weekend as well. And it was just like, that was the best thing that could have happened to him, in all honesty, because it just changed his season completely from an approach point of view. So it wasn't like just the car came good, like, and he just walked into a car he did a lot of work, and now well, what's going on here? Like, and he made it again, tailored it better to him so that now he could show his talent, and then he hammered everyone in Mexico. So, like, yeah, on the mental side, I think Netherlands was good for him. I don't know if you guys agree.
No, well, I know. I mean, he's the rabbit. He's better being the dog chasing the rabbit than being the rabbit being chased.
Yeah, right.
I think a lot of drivers are like that. They much prefer chasing than being chased. Conversely, I want to talk a little bit. I gotta talk papaya rules for 5 seconds.
Okay, yeah,
I think the thing that really, maybe it's hard to prove causation, but there's a lot of correlation between the Monza swap. You had the Monza swap, and then you had the Singapore moment, because you had Monza, then you had the collapse, and I might be fucking this up. You had Monza, he collapsed in Baku, and then Singapore he qualified well. He out qualified Lando by 2 places. So it's like, okay. Not we haven't had a complete. He's rebounded from Baku. He's rebounded. Then Lando runs him off they have the little bump, and then in Oscar's mind he goes, wait a minute, okay, we've established a precedent that if something's not fair, they correct it. So we're just going to let him do that. They say, no further action. The steward said it was okay, so we're going to go that it's okay. I'm like, wait a minute. The steward said it. The stewards don't weigh in on pit stops either. So what the fuck are we doing here? And ever since Singapore, he never. I don't think he ever mentally recovered from that. I'm not saying that that's, he's got to. Do you think that fucked him up mentally?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Look, I don't think it did him any favors. Like, he's going for his first title. That's not a help. The thing with Monza for me that was his radio was like, it was very clear to me, and it was like, I thought we agreed that slow pit stops were a part of racing. It was a very clear, like, we've discussed this.
Right.
And I'm clear on this. So what now? Like, why? What's going on here? And then Oscar was quite nice, and then he finished off by saying, like, but if you want me to let him through, I'll let. But, like, that's not good. You'll reflect on that, and you'll be thinking, am I too nice? Is this bullshit? What's going on? Like, do I need to, like, it's just going to play on you so much. Like, yeah. That radio message was concerning for me, because it appeared as though they'd discussed that eventuality and gone completely against what they agreed in the moment.
Okay, so you're Oscar's man. You're another Australian, Mark Webber. Mark Webber. Okay. How are you handling that? After Monza, how are you handling this? And then Singapore, how are you dealing with him? And that maybe this team is fucking with your head a little bit.
Yeah, it's tricky, because at the end of the day, it's a mad car and a mad team. So you got to be super careful. Everyone's saying, like, he should leave, and I'm like to do the Daniel Ricciardo thing, jump out of a Red Bull, jump out of a championship winning team and car, and go to other teams. Like, you're done after that. So your only chance is to stay and work it out. So I would not, like, it's a balance. You can't rock the boat too much. You got to express that you're not happy, but at the end of the day, that car provided you a world championship opportunity, and that team, and they might as well this year as well. So, like, I don't agree. Like, you can't leave. You've got to stay and fight, kind of thing.
Yeah, but you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because if you leave, you're fucked. But if you stay and you turn into Mark Webber, you're also fucked, right?
No, there's opportunities to just trim out the Bakus and work on the low grip situation, and like you can still make it work and forget about the noise. And there are ways around it. You've got to keep the aces that are the MCL39 in your hand. Can't put them down.
Right. Okay, I'm curious about going on off of this, and we were just talking about, when Lewis said, you got to give Max space, and the way that George is great is that he doesn't give a fuck about Max. He doesn't treat him with respect.
Yeah, that's it.
What we've seen at McLaren is that they kind of there's been all these times where there's been a kind of like moment where like, hey, like, I mean, you go to Hungary last year, where Lando, they're pleading with him, give Oscar the place back, give Oscar the place back. Oscar's first win comes in this like the most a ruined orgasm that you've ever, you're having an orgasm when someone punches you in the balls, like no pleasure. Yeah, sure, it happened. Like, and I remember the time thinking, Lando, like, you're in a championship fight. Fuck these team orders. This is the time. Put your foot down and say, no. I'm channel an inner Max Verstappen and get this thing done. Now, fast forward. Now Lando's won the championship a year later, and what he said, he's like, and I did it my way. Like I didn't have to do the Max Verstappen thing and be a psycho.
You love that, hey, Brian?
And win by 1,000 points. You'd run it by the skin of your fucking teeth.
Instead, I won the championship by 2 points. What are your thoughts on kind of, maybe what McLaren has maybe done to both of them, or whether that's just part of both of their mentality? What are your thoughts on the Lando Norris, I did it my way, and hey, I don't have to stoop to that level?
So there's kind of two things in there. The McLaren piece and then Lando's personal approach. Like, I think Lando should have won 24. The car was very good fairly early on in the season. If we talk about Max's car coming good at a late point, right? McLaren came good in like Miami or something. Like it was a good car for a long time, and they should have won 24. And I don't think they were ready for it. Like both of them, the team and Lando, it just caught them by surprise. Like whatever changed, I don't know the details of what happened from an aero standpoint, but it caught everyone by surprise that they had a quick car. They didn't know what to do with it. So that was quite interesting, quite funny. But I think 24 was a big opportunity for them. Yeah, I mean the McLaren race operations hasn't been good. And it has messed both of them up. I think Lando's approach as well in 24 and 25, just because he won in 25, I don't think that's a precedent for what the correct way to approach a world championship is. I mean, he only just won by 2 points in a car that wrapped up the constructors like 6 or 7 races before the end. So, I mean, he definitely should have done more with that car. It was very close, too close for comfort. So, I mean, I don't know how to handle, like, it's kind of outside of my, like, how do you manage the team and the drivers? And I don't, like, it wasn't good, but I can't offer you a solution either. Like, I don't know.
You're Zach Brown. How are you managing the team?
So, they say they did two things. They said we'll let them race, but then they did the exact opposite, pretty much. And that was the whole problem with the season is like, no, we let them race. You're free to race, whatever. Like, that's what we heard. But then the exact opposite happened on track. It was like, it was obvious places where it wasn't quite fair. So, yeah, there are, I guess, draw a line between what's racing and what's not racing. And like, there should only be very unique opportunities and situations where they're on completely different strategies and you've just got to let the other guy through because he's on the soft mediums and you're on the dead hards and you're in the way. Just get out of the way and that's it. Other than that, I can't think of too many other situations where you would want to interfere with what's going on. Like, I'm curious,
what were your thoughts on, because there were a couple races this year where they did differing strategies. They tried it in Spa and it didn't work. And then they also, I think it was in
Hungary. Lando one stop.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on like those two times, both times where they were kind of like, I think it was that Lando was out of position. They were like, fuck it. We should just, the only chance that we have to win this race is you do an alternate strategy. What are your thoughts on that in an inter-team kind of dynamic?
No, I agree with that. I think the drivers should be free to do their own strategy and come up with their own strategies with the team based on where they are, because there is a driver element in that call as well. That's what people seem to forget. I think it's a team have put Lando on a one stop and they're favoring him, but there's a driver element in there. It's how the tire's feeling. Do you think if we pit you now, you can overtake this guy? Are you happy to do this? Like, there's always a driver component to the strategy. Carlos saying, stop inventing, here's what I'm doing, I'm coming in next lap kind of thing.
Right.
So I think that it should be, the strategies, it's got a massive driver component, and it should not be controlled so much that, like, if we're going to do a two-stop with Oscar, then we have to keep it fair and do a two-stop with Lando. No, Oscar, if you want to do the two-stop, do it. But you're free to do the one as well. Like, there's nothing stopping you from doing it. So it's like there's a driver call. It's a driver's call as much as it is a team call. I think they forget that at times. The drivers forget that, like, they can also influence the strategy if they feel strongly enough about it. Yeah.
Okay, here's you are a driver coach. You are a driver coach at Open Formula. How much of how many of these guys on grid have coaches? Because if you mentioned Roger Federer a second ago. You go to the Wimbledon. Every single person who plays in Wimbledon has their own coaching staff. They've got a whole team involved with just getting them right, getting them ready, making sure that they're sharp. And to the point where Serena Williams, got that penalty, a few years ago, and because the coach was like, scratching his beard or whatever, and it turns into a whole thing. But like, do any of these guys have driver coaches?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Me and my mentor and I, we're talking to a few drivers and teams at the moment, trying to work something out. There's obvious gaps and opportunities there at the moment. Because here's the disconnect. The mentality that gets you to F1 is not the mentality that's going to serve you in F1. So the mentality that gets you to F1 is, I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm going all the way, baby. Like, I'm self-belief and self-confidence. I don't need, like, I'm the best. I'm going to win. You've got it. That's great. That's a good mentality. That's going to get you to F1, but you've got to draw a line there in the sand and now say, okay, I'm here now. I'm in F1. What do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to become the best? But that change never happens. It's still, I'm the best. I can do it. You know what I mean? And then you realize very quickly that, like, you're not the best. And you've got to work it out back to the process piece. So I don't think we're 20 years behind in F1 compared to other sports on many levels. Coaching is one of them. Everyone's got the physical coach and the mental coach, but do they have the technical coach and the tactical coach? Like I said before, where there's obvious gaps and opportunities there, because the mentality of I'm the best still carries into F1 when it shouldn't. It's almost a different sport once you get there. There's a lot to brush up on.
It's almost like only guys like me would hire a driver coach to, like, not suck. It wouldn't occur to someone who's actually a professional to get a driver coach. Even though, like, in the NFL, they have quarterback coaches, they have cornerback coaches, they have position coaches that are nowhere near as good as the guys that are playing the position, that teach them that help them with technique and all these things. But at what level do you think what level of coaching do you think a GP, a driver engineer, the trackside engineer, what level of coaching do you think those guys provide with the telemetry and all that stuff? Because Gunther was pretty doubtful about, like, oh yeah, they say, oh, this guy's taking a little more speed in this corner, or this guy's braking a little, your teammate's braking a little earlier here, but it's not that much help.
Yep. Good point. It's a good question. So in my book, it's kind of not really coaching, because it's like, it's just fact delivery. So it's like, right. Charles Lewis, or they're talking to Lewis, for example. Charles is 2/10 quicker at turn one. Oh, okay, cool. Right. Lewis is like, where? Oh, it's the exit of turn one. How? He's getting on throttle earlier. No, how? I can't do that. How? Like, do you know what I mean? And the engineer, that's where the conversation ends, because the engineers are at their limits. Like, they can't interpret anything beyond like that. So it's 2/10 on the exit, but then you've got to be like, okay, what's going on? Let's go back a few steps. Are they coming into the corner with the same temperatures? Are they coming in with the same braking tools? Where are their rotation points? And like how? Like give me the mechanism through which Lewis can also grab those 2/10, because he's obviously at the limit of what he feels is out there at the moment. Do you know what I mean? There's more to it. It's more complicated than that. So yeah.
If you were going to get an F1 driver, let's say Liam Lawson called you up and he was like, help me now. What would you do with him?
It's so good. You're halfway there, honestly, when you do that. Like you pick up the phone to someone and say, help me. You're literally halfway there. Like that's the first step, right?
The first step in solving problem is that there is a problem.
That's it. Like you're almost half. You're almost halfway there. It's firstly, I'd want to get so let's say with Liam, I'd want to get the context and be like, what happened at Red Bull? Like, give me the story. Like, fill me in. What was the struggles? Like, give me the full story season to date. Have you worked with coaches before? I need context. I've got a lot of intersecting philosophies thereafter, which I can pull on, which I think after he tells me that story, then I can say, all right, we'll look at this. So it could be wet, could be lines, could be interpreting telemetry, could be driving with downforce, could be the 7 technical corners. Like it could be one of those, how to use the steering wheel. It could be just one of those things, driver tools, something in there that's on the technical side, on the lap time side, if that's where we're looking to improve. So I'd start there.
Would you get on the sim with him, or would you do a track day, or?
Yeah, if it was a particular thing, like if I identified that he was weak in chicanes, for example, which is one of the 7 technical corners, then I'd be like, all right, well, here's what I'm thinking. Here's how I want to try to take it. Jump in a sim and like demonstrate that, and then next time you go to Imola or Canada or Monza, do this and you'll be sweet.
Okay.
So yeah.
How do you get him to stop fucking collecting front wings? How do you coach him out of that?
It's a I know you're asking that question like tongue in cheek, but it's a professional's mindset approach. Like I always use that word because it means a lot to me. Like professional means that you're reliable. Like you can walk in and deal with whatever situation you're presented with. If it starts raining and you're on old tires, you're not just going to go off and complain like, yeah, but it was raining. I was like, no, like this is the situation you're in. And a professional is like, all right, this is what it is, but I just got to hang on for these next couple of laps. And I know that I'll get my opportunity later in the race and wait for that safety car. Or the professional mentality is like, there's always light at the end of the tunnel somewhere. If I can just weather this patch and this storm, like you're getting hammered down match point. You see this in tennis a lot, the momentum shifts that happen and how you have to just weather that moment. That's what a professional does and solve for it and then come out the other side and start putting in good laps with a different set of tires, and things just evolve throughout the race. So with the front wing piece, it's like just choose your moments. Like you know what I mean? Like you just got to take the professional approach and Ayrton Senna said it really well. Know when to give everything you have or know when to keep everything you have, like hold. And so it's that balance that you need to find. You might find you got more front wings.
I'm curious what your thoughts on like someone like Max with regards to that, because in certain ways I think of Max as like, yeah, you throw any condition at him. It's raining. He can put in lap time. He comes in, we saw it, I think, in Drive to Survive. Like, it was like the test day. It was when Liam was trying to get on to the team, and they're like, Max, can you just come in and, like, just put down a lap? And he was like, okay, like, whatever. Just, like, cracks his neck, does it in a second. But then you think of other times where Max, you're like, well, that's not a professional at all. Like the way that he acts on track sometimes. You see it in Spain. You see it in earlier points in his career. There have been plenty of times where Max, feels like, and this is what George Russell said, he acts like a bully. He's like, I'm entitled to the space. He works the rules, bends the rules. Do you feel like, I know you have a kind of a theory on Max's, like, Max doesn't have many flaws, but you've pinpointed his flaws. What do you think about Max Verstappen on the professional? Is he a professional?
Yeah. I love Max on the professional side. Like his approach and work ethic is fantastic. And like, I don't like it when people say he's so talented, he's got godly feel and this and that. I'm like, no. His work ethic is phenomenal. Like, and he's so professional. And like you said, Brian, when the situations come up, he's there at the flag. Like Brazil 24 was a good example of that. Like he just, what I mean? He just got it done, man. Like he didn't whinge about it. Like he just got it done. It was mad. Now with the whole Spain thing, like, obviously I don't like the way he throws the car at others in frustration. Like, I'd be disingenuous if I said I like that. That's not good. That's unprofessional.
To use his car as a weapon, that's unprofessional.
Yeah, that's not good.
Less than
that's
ideal.
Not good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not good. I guess it shows how much he like. If I'm letting him off ever so slightly, it shows how much he cares. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the Spain. No, it's still not acceptable, obviously. It's still not professional. Right. But in the Spain example, you had a few things came together. Like Hannah Schmitz, I like her. She's a great strategist. Very good. Excellent. She put him on the hard compound. He gets the wobble out of the final corner. Charles gives him a bump down the pit straight. George has a bite at him. Then to your point, Matt, this is the first time you mentioned my channel, I think, was like George wasn't fully in control. Like there was an oversteer moment at the point of contact. Then GP comes on the radio and says, "No, we're sure we have to give that place back." Max is like, "Fuck this!" I mean, this is like, do you know what I mean? There was four things in there that like went against him and kind of. So it takes a lot to get Max in that state. Like it's not like that happens all the time. That was the perfect storm. I think most drivers would have flipped out at that point. There was a kind of Hannah, GP. Kind of George had a part to play in that as well, George.
It's George.
Yeah, they all had a part to play. Yeah. So in the end, I don't know why GP gave him that instruction. They should have reviewed the onboard and said, "Well, George is out of control. Just leave it." So if you have to, like, if we get a 5 second or whatever, like, just leave it. Yeah, what triggered Max was, you have to let George back through, and Max is like, "What?" Yeah. So then so Max is essentially saying with this car, so then I can do this? Like, what do we do? Do you know what I mean? The GP had a part to play there.
So his weakness is he can be a little over emotional?
Yes. So there's points available on the emotional side if you can push the right buttons. Yeah.
Okay. I want to do biggest, of the people that we care about. All the people that we care about. I want to hear your opinion on like their biggest strength and biggest weakness. So let's go through just like we'll go through the order of like we'll do the top, guys. Okay. Lando won the championship. What do you think Lando's biggest strength is, and what do you think Lando's biggest weakness is?
Biggest strength is when he's comfortable. His lap time is quick, technical, quick. So, yeah, like I said, if he's comfortable with the car, and again, I think that was the story of 25. Like he was getting comfortable throughout the season. Then you see like what he did in Mexico. Like he can be damagingly quick. That's his biggest strength. His biggest weakness is like I don't think he frames things in the right way. Like on the mentality side, the approach side, he talks about luck a lot, and he spoke about, there's nothing we can do about these things. And like I said about the professional approach is like, you can always control that situation and wrap your arms around that a little bit more. And like, I think in Brazil 24, you saw it. He came out and was like, what did he say? Max got lucky or something? Like stuff like that. Yeah. Like you can't be saying that. That's not good. Yeah. That's a weakness. Yeah. That's not the right approach.
Well, we now know that it comes from his father, who, after he won the championship, just could not shut his fucking trap. It was like, I showed up when other parents had jobs, but I'm one of the richest men in Great Britain, and I actually went to my son's karting races, and so and no one cares about who finished second. No one cares about that. So the apple maybe doesn't fall that far from a tree in terms of coping and putting your foot in your mouth. Okay, Max Verstappen. We discussed maybe his biggest weakness. What do you think his biggest strength?
Wet. Yeah, that whole short corner thing is powerful, man, in the wet. Max is the best driver in the wet by far. When it rains, BetMGM.
Yes.
Yeah, Max in the wet, like, exceptional.
Okay, Oscar Piastri.
it's still developing in a way. Like, it was only his third season. I still feel like he's got a lot to come. Okay, well, I'll start with the weakness. He spoke about the sim in that podcast with Tom, and he was like, "Oh, very rarely am I using the sim for training or practice. I jump on there and have a bit of fun." I think that's an obvious gap and hole in Oscar's preparation. Like, I don't think that's a strength. Yeah, and I think he spoke about, like, he struggles with braking and being an active braker, and he spoke about as well, like, when we were looking at the corners on the whiteboard, he said, I got to brake as late as possible to get to the apex as soon as possible, and then how you do that. And I would reframe that as well, because he was losing out in, like, Mexico turn 1, 2, 3. It's like a sequence of corners where he was losing out. In Brazil turn 1, 2, 3, again, sequence of corners where Lando was caning him in both those areas, because Oscar was braking later than Lando into turn 1, both occasions. So just a reframing of how he views the corners and the lap, how it comes together, I think. Maybe not biggest weakness, but that's something.
I'm curious, before you get to strength, I'm curious, we have a theory about Oscar this year, because it seemed like there were a bunch of times, like FP1, FP2, FP3, Lando Norris was, like, on it. Quickest times, like, he was, like, they're like, Lando's got this, and then come qualifying, Oscar all of a sudden pulls this lap time out of the bag. And then in times where there was, like, a sprint race and there was, like, less data to be had, he struggled, and Lando was able to pull off more. Our theory is that Lando kind of we say that Lando, like,
I think I've heard this before.
Yeah. Lando doesn't need a lot to kind of get bricked up, and Oscar needs a lot of foreplay. But that Oscar kind of maybe, like, looks at Lando's telemetry, that Lando's, like, quick from the jump, that he just kind of, like, naturally feels it, where, like, Oscar, it takes him a little bit to get there. He's maybe cheating off the Lando Norris test and then can figure out how to do it. Does that ring at all true to someone who maybe understands this thing better than us?
Yeah, like, it's like, I don't disagree. It's close. The only thing that comes to mind is Spa. The moment Oscar put that car on track, it was, and that was a sprint race.
But didn't Lando got pole in Spa this year? Yes, he did.
Oscar hammered it. Did he?
No.
Get your team to check.
No, Lando got pole, and then Oscar overtook him on Eau Rouge.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. So the sprint race, though.
Yes, sure.
Oscar smashed that, and that was lack of prep situation.
But
so I don't know.
Spa is like the one track he loves.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
And Oscar began to fall apart a little bit when they pulled the curtain over the when they partitioned the garage, right?
Yeah.
So Oscar couldn't cheat as much on the test anymore because they knew that, God forbid, Oscar had an advantage. You know, fuck.
Well, is the advantage cheating off Lando's test? If that's not the advantage?
Yes.
I'll go along with that. You can keep and retain that lovely theory you have for the rest for now.
Okay, greatest strength then. Oscar's greatest strength. His ability to cheat off Lando Norris's test?
Yeah, there you go. I like the way, I mean, on the mental side, like I said, there's a lot of things. There's the emotions and the distractions and the concentration, the attention span and pressure and so on. I think within that, though, like, his ability to retain the emotions, and like we saw, how much did McLaren, like, essentially screw him last season, and he was still kind of kept his head in a way from the emotional stoic standpoint. That's got to be a massive strength.
Okay, George Russell.
Ooh, yeah, mentality, biggest strength, self-confidence, his approach, his work ethic, his attention to detail. Yeah, I think he's the best on the grid in that. Ooh, weakness is tough. I like George.
We get that.
Yes.
We get that.
We got a Brussels sprout on our hands.
Yeah. You know what? We'll see it. When he's fighting for a championship, it'll come out. There's one in there somewhere. I don't know what.
His fault. His
I feel like Hamilton showed him up a bit in tire maintenance. Like, you know, because how many times would George, it was tortoise in the hare, right? How many times would George outqualify Lewis, and then Lewis would just show up right behind him, right next to him, even beat him, you know, because Lewis had the tire maintenance on him, right?
Yep. Abu Dhabi was a good example of that in whenever Lewis's last race in 24. Like, they started on opposite ends of the grid, and by the end of the race, Lewis was attacking George. Yeah,
right. I think. I think they were saying that on Missed Apex, like just the tortoise and the hare. That George is such a good qualifier that you can only he was so much better than Lewis at qualifying that you could almost see how bad he was on his tires compared to Lewis.
Yeah. So we spoke about the tight line before and said Charles is the only one that does it. And I mentioned like Lewis sometimes drives like this as well. That is one of the benefits of that is front tire wear as well. So I'll go.
Why am I pointing out his weaknesses? Well, you're you're glazing him too hard. But that is such an obvious.
He's very good. He's very good. Like I want to see him.
But tire maintenance is a big one. You're like, okay, fine. Tire maintenance. You think
he's winning the championship in 26?
I want to see him go head to head with Max for a title. That would be blockbuster.
That would be amazing. Yeah. Okay, next up, Charles Leclerc. Biggest strength, biggest weakness.
Yeah. Biggest strength, lap time, technical. Driving technique, feel for the car. He's quick. I think we touched on it with the conversion piece. I think in the tactical side, I think
he's a big dummy.
Boxes, that need to be ticked there. I'd also say the wet, and that's back in the technical box. So right. The wet seems to expose Charles a lot as well for some reason. There's a few there for Charles.
Too much time in Santa Monaco.
Defense, like the comment I left. Defense, Charles. Pull to the inside and cover it off. What are you doing?
Yeah. All right, Lewis.
Okay. A bigger strength is his ability to maximize and optimize in the braking zone. So, like, it could be framed as a weakness, but depends. Like, if we're talking about Monza, just here's the straightest, longest braking zone. Go for it. You know what I mean? Like, right, that's his biggest weapon. If he can, tap into that, massive strength. His feel and control for the brake pedal and that moment of now's the time to brake is second to none. Weakness, I think his approach. Not a big fan of his approach. I think he's in Antarctica at the moment. Like if I had a season like he did in 25, I would not be running around Antarctica.
Bro. If I looked like him, I would not do anything with my life. I would be somebody's rent boy. I would not have the fact that he's achieved as much as he's achieved looking like that is pretty awesome.
Yeah. No, he's very good, but I just think he's a
this is funny. I thought that you were like he's in Antarctica like because he doesn't use the sim. I thought that was like a metaphor, but you're like no, he's literally in Antarctica right now.
He is.
Yeah, you don't think ice climbing is good preparation? You don't think ice climbing?
I thought that you were saying like he doesn't use the sim. He's he's in a whole other like he's not he's not optimizing and doing whatever. I mean, he's not in the sim because he's in Antarctica, but
that's right.
He was literally there.
So Martin, I know right. You talk a lot. You talk a lot of shit. You think these guys work out too much?
Yeah. I think that there's too much emphasis placed on the physical side. To the detriment of the other three, technical, tactical, mental. So, and Max is very good at this. I think Bradley Scanes in one of his podcasts, Bradley was his physical performance coach. You could say a bit of mental in there as well. And he was like, Max was hard to work with because he would say like, where do I need to be as a minimum? But just stop me there because I got other stuff I wanted. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah. And I think that's why.
Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly's like Hulk smashing and finishing P18.
Yeah. No, we don't measure who's the fittest. We measure who's the fastest.
Okay,
right.
This will be the last guy, and then we'll move on. We can't do everyone, but this is guy's supposed to be the next fucking guy, Kimi Antonelli.
Ooh, biggest weakness is lack of professional guidance, personal team help. Like nurturing. It's not there at all. Like,
no. I need you to expand on this. This is a hobby horse of mine. Expand. Click and zoom. Zoom and pinch. Pinch and zoom.
Double click, baby.
Yeah. Double click, exactly.
Yeah. So first time he jumped in the Mercedes, that Monza FP1, the track had just been resurfaced. And the instruction from everyone in the team was go out and enjoy, have fun, pretty much. You had fun, all right?
Yeah.
You put it in the wall at the Parabolica. So like that automatically, like if you don't know who's in the team, you know there's not the right person. There's not that we spoke about the professionalism. I don't expect it from Kimi's side because he was 18 at that time.
Right.
He's still very young. I don't put this on Kimi. But the people around him to say like, all right, here's the goals and objectives for the session. It's been resurfaced. Go out, have a look around, do a few laps, feel the grip out, come back, we'll make a change, go again, we'll work through our program. This is the session. Professional approach, like lack of guidance, lack of help. The instruction to have fun, like giving a monkey a machine gun.
Well, it's interesting because from the Mercedes, all they talk about is how much they've nurtured him and that they've given him, he said, more time on track. They are like, they're singing from the rooftops about the way that they've nurtured this kid. But this, I love this take. I love this. Well,
I've been saying it forever. What about giving him a Netflix documentary before he ever set foot on the F1 grid? What about that? Well, what about I know because I was always saying like, they skipped F3, they put him right in F2. Yeah. He did fine. He did. I think Prema was like not a good team because you saw Ollie Behrman's good and he didn't do much on Prema in F2, so that's not really much to compare. But I mean, what did you think of the decision to throw him right into Mercedes? Because I thought that was a questionable decision because everyone's singing Isaac Hadjar. Isaac Hadjar's feeling great about himself. Ollie Behrman is feeling great about himself. Even Gabby Bortoletto had a great end to his season. Everyone's blowing these fucking rookies, and I think they all have one thing in common. None of them had none of them had George Russell as a fucking teammate.
And
none of them were on Mercedes.
The bars were low, and they cleared them fantastically. And then they say, look how great these guys are. Whereas, like, you give Kimi Antonelli an extremely high bar, being on the top team, and having your golden boy, your boy, George Russell.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he could have been in Williams, that or even Alpine.
Yeah. I like the George Russell approach. Spend a few years in Williams.
Yes, right.
Right. Get your shit together and come and enter the top team as a more fully complete. Like, how long they spent a long time with George in Williams? Like it was
3 years,
3 or 4 years. Yeah, proper. Not this 10 races, Hadjar, Lawson kind of situation, whatever. Albon, Pierre. No, it was like stay here for a while. When your opportunity comes, like you'll be ready. I prefer that approach. I mean, he's been placed in hot water. It's fine to do that, but you've got to have a good personal team around him that's got to have a couple of 35, 40-year-olds around him that, do you know what I mean? Can help and nurture him. And I don't think it was like he's talented. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They probably expected a few crashes. Max was the same. Like 1 year in Monaco, he crashed like 4 times in 1 weekend.
Yeah, but he was in Toro Rosso.
Yeah.
Right?
He did a year. He did a year and a quarter at Toro Rosso before he was on Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the place to make your mistakes.
Right.
How
do you think Hadjar is gonna fare next year? We met him in Vegas, and he's really feeling like his shit don't stank, but that second seat is we know what it is.
It's a doozy.
How
do you think he fares in 26?
So I think it's good he's stepping into the new car because even for Max, it'll be, we're all starting from zero here. There's no preconceived setup, direction, drama situation where, it's a poison chalice seat and everything like that. I think it goes in his favor. But again, like I spoke about before, that we're starting from here. But where we end, like again, if Max takes the car one way and you start to lose track and start to look at what Max is doing, I think you'll get lost very quickly. So I wouldn't do that. I'd go your own way and fight and compete with something you're comfortable with. Don't try to copy, like work it out yourself. Yeah.
It seems to be a trap
and on that point, given these new cars, given what we know about them, given that they're lighter, given that they're smaller, given that there's a lot of new components, with energy deployment and all this technical shit.
Yeah, moving aero. The front wing's gonna move, and everything moving. Everything on that car is moving.
Given all of the mishigas with this car, who are you like? Oh, this guy's gonna do well with it, or oh, Charles Leclerc is a fucking idiot. He's gonna struggle with this. Like, who do you think who do you think this is gonna favor, driving wise?
So yeah, I think. Again, like it's not going to particularly favor someone. If it suits you or doesn't suit you, that doesn't matter. It's what you do from that point onwards with what you have to get yourself in a position where you can compete for wins. It's that process of evolution. So I'd say Max.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, it's just going to work that. It's just going to work that situation out better than others. Now, with the whole deployment, battery harvesting, energy situation, I think that shines a light on the tactical drivers. So your Alonsos, your Carloses, and your George and Max in there as well. So it's just that, like, where
so your Charleses, your Landos, your the guys that don't think for themselves as much are gonna struggle more. Your Ollie Behrmans, maybe your younger guys who are less experienced, might not do as well.
Potentially, I'm not all in on this, but I think the tactical guys will have a better take on how to manage the race. Mm-hmm. And I think the lap time is just going to come from the problem-solving adaptability piece.
Okay. I want you, we don't have much time left. I want you, in terms of like to build the perfect racing driver, if you were going to take bits of one person mentality, raw speed, tire maintenance, and you have your own, your categories.
Use your own criteria. Yeah.
Who are you like? I'm taking George. You can't all be George Russell as much as you want it to be.
It won't be.
You can only use each person once. You have to. You can only take one aspect of George's abilities. So build Frankenstein your perfect racing driver.
Okay, so mental, technical, tactical, I'll start there. So mindset, mental, I'll take George. Technical, I'll break that up into a few categories. I'll take Leclerc's tyre wear and tight line and ability to follow. I'll take Max's wet. I'll take Max for downforce.
No.
Wait. Choose one. Max for wet or Max for downforce? What we got?
Wet.
Okay.
Take Max in the wet, Leclerc for tight line and tyre life. I mean, on the technical side, generally, I'm taking Max. And on the tactical side, I'll take Fernando. Yeah, I mean, there are subcategories within each of those,
sure.
As I'm sure you know. So, like, mental is heaps and technical is heaps and tactical is heaps.
Sure.
But I'll go mental, George, technical, Max, tactical, Alo.
Okay, and here's my final question. Obviously, Yuki Tsunoda's got to get back into Formula One. And he might need some help, okay? Because he might need a driver coach.
So if I've got a George Russell, you've got a Yuki Tsunoda. He's your boy.
What if we know Yuki's team? We can introduce you guys. How do we get Yuki Tsunoda back in Formula One? What would you say to him, driver coach? How would you get him back on the right mentality? How would you be telling Yuki to spend this next year, apart from obviously like doing food tours and hanging out with us? In the times where he's not hanging out with us at races, because that we need to make that happen this year, what should he be doing?
So it'd be very similar to the Liam Lawson. I want to understand what happened at Red Bull. What was the struggles? What was the problems? What was the limitation? Like, I need the context. I need the career today. Where were the challenges exactly?
You're supposing that they could explain to you what went wrong, right?
Hopefully,
because isn't that part of the problem? Because sometimes you don't even know.
Right.
Well, have you ever had a breakup and they're like, "Well, what happened?" You're like, "I don't know." She just fucking she just fucking dumped me. I have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
She said it's not you, it's me, but you fucking know it was you. You just don't know why.
Show me the last text messages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you got a problem if you don't know what went wrong. Yeah, that's
right.
Problem well defined. There's a problem half solved. So you got to work that out. What went wrong? And if he doesn't know, again, like show me the text messages. Like what tracks in particular, what corners, what situations. Like I need the context, and then we'll go from there.
I think he had a wreck in Monza. He had one bad wreck, and then that sent him back in sort of the upgrades, and he didn't get the same equipment after that, and that really botched his confidence. That was a big turning point for him because he wasn't that. Listen to us talking about it, relitigating, because he was like not that bad, and then he had that one big crash, and that fucking ruined everything. In like FP2 or something. Or quality.
No, I can it's the process piece. Like I can help. I need the understanding, and I'm going through that process at the moment. Hopefully something comes soon, but we're close to something.
Oh shit. Watch this. Watch this space. Well,
you got to tell us off the pod.
Are you going to be able to have it? Are you going to be able to have a YouTube channel, or is this YouTube channel like are the days limited where the lower lap time? Because while you're here, go subscribe. If you come to if you want technical analysis, you go to Martin's channel. It's lower lap time on YouTube and various other places. But are you still going to be giving us content if you're behind the scenes?
It's not something I've thought of. Like, I mean, I just literally just go day by day. Like today, I was like, "What do I need to do for today?" And like, that's as far as I can think. Honestly, sure. Maybe I can do some. Look, if it's to the compromise of quality, I'm not going to be doing vlogs and behind the scenes. Hang on, like, mate, we got work to do here. So. Sure. Take the professional approach, obviously. But I think it's like you guys said, it's a big gap. It's a big hole at the moment. I'm not sure if you guys saw my pod with the Swedish media and Marcus Ericsson, the short I put out.
We saw bits of it. Yeah.
I think like just that 3-second clip and short, like just shows that if you give drivers a different perspective and a different look, they have that aha moment. And like, I love that. I love helping and showing them what's possible. Like, sometimes they're just not aware of their own shortcomings. So yeah, I love that.
What do you think it is about Formula One? You said earlier that they're 20 years behind. Like, why? Why? There's other sports where people think I'm the fucking best, but they still have coaches. You know what I mean? Like, what is it about Formula One? It's the most technically advanced sport in the world. It's got all this going for it. But, in certain ways, it's still lagging.
As for the sport, I don't know exactly. It is definitely far behind in many areas, particularly at the race operations. I think there's two things, like the guys that build the cars back at the factory and the technology and engineering that goes on there is cutting edge.
Right.
But at the track, it's a totally different picture. It's like,
Yeah, Marshall's on track. We saw, the shit show that.
Yeah,
that's right.
The stewards, the inconsistent rulings on things. It's everything.
Also, there's a lot of like in football, and it's like a lot of ex-players become coaches, and there's like kind of that understanding.
That's the thing. Yeah,
this is
a big topic.
So, but. Not a lot of ex-drivers become team principals. So it's not like Alan. You have Alan Prost or someone like that running a team. You have Toto Wolff running a team, and was just really Toto Wolff going to tell Lewis Hamilton how to drive the fucking car? No, he's not.
Right? No, he's going to tell Kimi Antonelli to have fun.
Yeah. It's like shut the fuck up.
That's right, exactly.
And there's no way GP is going to tell Max how to drive a car. Like GP is hired for his ability to like interpret the data, and there's such a wide gulf between the skills that it takes to drive a car and the skills that it takes to like run a car. Those are just two completely different skills. And maybe that's part of the problem, I think.
I mean, one of the barriers we're coming across at the moment is like there's only a certain quota for people at the track. I don't know, call it 100 people or something. And it's like,
those passes are tight.
Yeah, really crazy. Drivers like it's like they get two. It's like it is insane.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can't have teams bringing in like thousands of people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So like you got to draw a line somewhere.
Right.
But it's how the teams prioritize that, and like as a minimum, have your physical, mental, technical, and tactical covered. Like.
Here's a potential. I mean, maybe this is too in the weeds, but because it's like with tennis, it is a purely individual sport. You know what I mean? Whereas, like on a football team, there's a quarterback coach, and there's people that are like hired by the team to be. They might have their own people as well, but like it as much as Formula One isn't. It's like it's this weird. It's an individual sport, but it's like they parade around like they're actually teammates when really they hate each other. Is there? Or do you run into like teams not wanting it, or a team hiring you to coach both drivers, or how does that?
Yeah, at the moment we're discussing all of those things, like how would it work? Is there space in the team? Would the budget cap? Does it need to be private and just personal to start with and then move into the team and so on? Can I give you a different take on the tennis piece? Like,
sure.
I think, is it not also a team aspect in there with your coaches, with your mentors, with your planning, your travel, your team?
Sure.
Like, is it not? This podcast is a team effort, a massive team effort behind what you guys and
no, of course they thank their team. The players
that's getting cut out. We're cutting that out.
The players obviously they thank their team, the people that are like on their but they don't have to deal with like a larger. It's not like Roger Federer playing for McLaren.
Has to
Roger
check.
Federer,
Yeah, there's no conflict.
He's the team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I got it. Okay, I see what you're saying.
That's what I mean.
There's no competing interests.
Yeah. Well, that's the challenge that we're running into is like, well, this is the other thing that one of them said was like, it might be seen as a weakness to onboard a driver coach and it might risk your position in the team. I was like, Jesus Christ.
God, it's so like, it's so pedantic.
Macho.
It's just like,
but it's also macho. It's also macho.
Yeah. And I heard that and I'm like, oof. Well, then you're going to lose on the lap time side. It's also another cook in the kitchen, right? If the driver engineer or the trackside engineer says, I think we should be doing this in turn 11, and the driver coach says, I think we should be doing that. You should be doing that in turn 11. That's a fucking. The team doesn't like that either,
right?
They probably want to be the sole authority on how we're taking turn 11 or how we're lifting and coasting or how we're managing the tires or whatever the fuck it is. So there's also that component as well, probably.
So that one I think we can get around because like even at the moment there'll be a guy saying, oh, we should pit or we should stay out or whatever. And it's like at the end of the day, you've got to go with, it's a team effort. Or someone will be back at the factory saying, I think we should design the front wing like this. And there'll be another guy saying, no, if you do that, you're going to fuck it up. Like, so like, I think, doesn't that exist already to some extent?
I meant to say archaic, not pedantic. Have to put that on the record. Archaic.
Yeah.
It's just old. It's just like, you think they're going to, it's just like, it's crazy that these guys don't have someone in their corner that like every other sport.
And they have physical.
Drills.
Yeah, they have physical. They have physios following them wherever they go.
Yes,
but the guy that can actually help them with the fucking how to drive the car, how to do the literal thing, nowhere to be seen. Pierre Gasly's throwing tennis balls and slamming lights, but nothing with that. With how to drive the car. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in your endeavors. As much as it would hurt to not be able to look at your channel, we hope that you have enough success that channel is a liability, and in 2 months you're asking us to take this episode off of the internet. But
in which case, we will see you in court. We'll see you in court.
Yeah, we'll see you in court.
I've always thought like there's so many videos up there that can genuinely help. Like I've thought like Like, this is something I have thought about is like, do I just pull the whole thing down? Like, at that point, you're competing for championships potentially.
Sure.
Like,
right.
So, yeah. So
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, these are good problems to have. Anyway, thank you so much for. I feel a bit smarter. I know. I hope Matt does. I hope our audience does as well. You can get that fucking channel while it lasts, because go subscribe right now.
Download all the videos, rip them all, because they won't be here because the train's leaving the station.
Vancas, this episode was made possible because of our daddies of the pod. So, we got to thank them. We got to thank Kayla, Robin, Jordan Tixera, Jade Lingle, Spencer Grieve, Javier Mera, Sheila Valeri, Chandler, Ali Santana, Carla Juarlo, Kimberly Huelen, Alonso of My Face 69, Donya Denad, Deadbeat Daddy Muhammad, Jimmy, Kimmy, sponsored by Mommy of the Pod, Hollister 584, Delusional Science Fan, Kat, Future Dog Tour Dion, Steph Grossi, JB Fresh, Laura, Emily Gillenwater, Cody Hull is my F1 daddy, Branch W, Keep Up the Science Hate, Hunter Scruggs, Salmonella Mozzarella, I'm a Leclerc fan, and yes, it hurts, Jay Kess, George Russell is Evil Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3, Matt Edwards is always right, I wish I was Max and Danny's love child, Delaney Andrews, Henry Caskey, Miles Lewis Alexander, Maggie B, Kaylee Breyer, Eva the Y, Devin, aka the future Dr. Sullivan's PA, Courtney Frazier, Yuki Sonoda's other mother, Jenny is the reason I am a daddy, Megan, Aaron, Pineapple the Y. Matt has a secret boner for Carlos Sainz. Unfortunately, it's Gary. Carolina, my name is AJ, and fuck the HOA. My K-Mag can fuck smash my door any day. The official F1 race program and its executive editor, Sarah. I got tickled by the Tifosi. Hey Jet, good luck out there. Allison Sane, Zhuge, F1 Dude Company, Trent Slickman, Code Brown Sonoda, Jerome Ferreira, Colapinto is a fraud, Aaron, Shahid, Jeans Rockstar Chohun. Shake and bake, had to lick my balls. Stay fierce, Charles Leclerc. Truth bringer, Mama Burns. Arthur Leclerc is harder. Car lost science. OP Goblin, right? Meow. James, DNCTT. Finny, Daddy Kev, not Magnuson. Mike, Bavi, Lando Norris's unofficial girlfriend. Why do I always hawk Tua on this name? Winkin. Lizzie Y, Jafar from afar, and Stroll paid the troll toll to get in the boys' hole. Honorary Daddy of the Week. This week, every week. Nicole Piastri. If you want to become a Daddy of the Pod, go to patreon.com/TRFpod and become our benefactor today. All right, Martin, we start this pod with a What's Up Vankas. Would you honor us with a goodbye Vankas?
Goodbye Vankas. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Goodbye Vankas.
I'll be the same Vankas.
Damn, I'm a boss. I'm a red flag heavy hitter.